place. Welcome to the planning board meeting. This meeting is being televised by Chelmsford Telemedia and is being conducted in person in room 204 of the town offices. We will continue with Zoom component links for the public until further notice. That, I don't see, the number for calling, do they have a number, Evan? Usually it's on this page.
Don't see it on the agenda.
If Colleen can let Evan know that number and we can let the public know. First up, we'll start with 314 Dunstable Road. Final document approval. Is the proponent here for that or on Zoom?
Katie Ann right here. I'm online if you guys have any questions.
So just for the board's benefit, these are your form covenants. If you recall at your previous meeting, you endorsed the final plan. That has since been recorded. So part of your subdivision approval requires a Form E covenant, a boilerplate. It's to form. So that's been submitted. Form G is not needed this evening. So what we're looking for is a vote on the first covenant, I believe, which is the, is that the detention basin, Katie?
Right, there's one for the detention basin and there's one for the road. And the
Correct. Form E is for the road. And the
That's
first,
public way.
yes, the first covenant is for a detention basin. DPW required that as part of their approval. As I mentioned, Form G will be required at a later date, but not voting on Form G this evening. We're looking
Okay.
for two motions, one for the detention basin covenant and one for Form E.
Okay.
Well, I'll move that we approve the covenant for the detention basin.
Motion, we have a second?
Second.
Second by Henry. All in favor?
Aye.
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 And Erica, well, she's not voting on this. All right. So that's all set?
Second vote on the Form E, please.
Yep, Form E.
Yep, I will move that we approve the Form E covenant.
Second?
Second.
Second by Henry. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And then G will be at a later time.
Correct.
Okay, we're all set then. Thank you,
very
Katie.
much.
These need to be signed tonight.
Tonight? Okay. Next up is 1 Billerica Road, 44 Central Square. Approval not required. Americal Management Co. LLC requests endorsement of an approval not required plan for the property located at 1 Billerica Road, 44 Central Square. Katie again?
Yep, so tonight you have before you the subdivision plan that was preliminarily put in front of you as part of the site plan approval. Until we had the site plan and special permits and the appeal period had run, we couldn't bring forth the A&R plan, which now, based on the special permits and the site plan that was issued, can be signed by the planning board. So what it depicts is the 3 new lots, the one around Oddfellows, the one around Santander, and the one that includes the Fisk House in the parking lot as depicted within the site plan. Oh, and also the easements associated with the Brookwalk, and there's 2. There's one on the Oddfellows site, or the Oddfellows parcel, and then there's one associated with the parcel associated with the Fisk House in the parking lot. So that's what you see at the bottom of the page in the 2 hatches.
Question for Katie. Lot 3, as shown, does that provide adequate parking spaces as previously reviewed on the 4144 Central Square property?
The parking spaces that are included in the lot are the parking spaces, right, that were approved as part of the planning board approval.
Okay.
So these lines, these property lines did not change and encompass it's basically that lot line was moved to encompass those 10 additional spaces, which is why you can see where the sewer easement exists. There's a space between the Santander lot and the Oddfellows lot.
Okay, anyone else have any questions?
Well,
You're on, Mike.
It looks to me as if the lot sizes and the frontages match, and that's largely what we
Yeah,
base A&Rs on, so,
it's all the,
With no,
with no determination as to zoning.
yes.
I would move that we approve the A&R as presented with no determination as to zoning.
Second?
Second. No, whatever. I can vote on this one because it's not.
Second by Henry. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Great, thank you very much.
And next up, 1 Billerica Road, 44 Central Square, request to endorse Mylars. Site plan approval, section 195-104, and special permits under Article 22, Village Center Overlay District VCOD, section 195-124, C245, and 195-26. And Article 14, Aquifer Protection District, and proposed project consists of reuse and redevelopment of the Odd Fellows Hall into commercial space as a 100-seat restaurant and 8 apartments respectively, and the subdivision of the existing property into 3 lots. The site is located in the Village Center Overlay District and consists of approximately 3.5 acres, as shown on the Assessors Map 84, Block 334, lots 10 and 11. Go ahead, Katie here again.
Yep, this is just the final site plan that has all of the last few revisions that we presented at the last planning board meeting in the full set. We brought them to Christina last week to just have one final look over after the meeting. And I believe Colleen has an email from her stating that she's happy with these plans. And tonight we're looking for them to be voted on to be endorsed.
and I do have a letter from Christina, Department of Public Works, to the Planning Board, subject Planning Board File 2020-03, 44 Central Square and 1 Billerica Road, reuse and redevelopment of the Oddfellows Hall into 100-seat restaurant and 8 apartments in subdivision. Dear members, this office has reviewed the site plans by Howard Stein Hudson Associates, consisting of 6 sheets, dated April 7th, 2021, revised through July 12th, 2021. This office's concerns have been met sufficiently, and the plans have been revised accordingly. We recommend endorsement of the Mylars. If you have any questions, please contact this office at the number listed.
Okay, do we have any other letters? That's it?
That's all I have.
Kevin, do you have anything on it?
No, also.
Okay, anybody else have anything? Let's seek a motion.
I'm prepared to move that we endorse the Mylars, or that we direct that the Mylars be endorsed. That's you.
Okay, that's
I'll second that.
second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I don't vote on this one.
Okay. And Deidre doesn't, okay.
Okay.
All right, thank you, Katie.
Thank you very much. Good night.
Next up, 200 Turnpike Road. Review approved decision, 200 Turnpike Road, All-Star Management LLC. Requests a special permit for section 195-5, use regulations and attachment 1, use table to operate at 2,800 square feet, doggy daycare, commercial kennel as a special permit per section 195-18 to reduce the parking in section 195-144C, to reduce the buffer strips and any other zone of relief that is deemed necessary. The site is located in IA Industrial, Limited Industrial District, and consists of approximately 3.85 acres as shown in the Assessor's Map 106-328-5.
I sent you out a
Yeah.
draft final decision. Those changes were reflected in findings, bottom of page 2, middle of page 3, in italicized text. I did receive one specific comment back from Mike Raisbeck in the first sentence of findings. He just clarified, he added detrimental effects of the project.
Right. I have that.
Clarity. And then this evening, in front of you, is just some wordsmithing, some final edits. So first page, itemizing that abutter letters were received in the April 28th, May 12th, May 26th meeting. On procedural history number 6, revising that one meeting occurred, not several, between abutters and the proponent. On fact number 4, the 5 has been deleted. The initial proposal was for 60 dogs. On fact 5, clarifying that the 6-foot vinyl fence was proposed, was not existing. I believe those are the edits.
I also had on a previous message to you, I had thought it was a proposal for 16 crates, not 6, in fact 4.
Yeah, so the applicant proposed 6. The 16 comes from fact 12, where DPW's letter introduced 16 crates based upon calculated sewer flows, up
I
to
see.
16
I
crates.
see.
But the applicant proposed 6.
What was the final number in terms of the number of dogs that were being proposed? Because I thought that changed over the course of the application.
Down to 60.
Yeah, when did-
It was higher than 60. It was 100 to begin.
100 is what the bylaw allows. They initially came in at 60. I think Nan put on the table 40. I don't
Right, so-
recall if they ever came back and officially,
I think that they
They
said
were-
that
they were
they would
certainly
do
talking-
40 to start.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was something like
Yeah.
that, but I think it's probably not germane to the.
I mean, if you like, I can, on fact 4, I can put the proposed kennel initially proposed at 60 dogs and revised to be 40.
Yeah,
Or
Yeah.
consideration was
Yeah.
given to a reduction.
yeah,
Yeah, because their
By
lawyer
the
was
applicant.
definitely talking 40,
Yeah.
okay.
or certainly less than 60.
Yeah.
Anybody else have any changes or edits? No? Evan, anything else on that?
No, so once I'll make the revisions, Tim will come in tomorrow or Friday, we'll get it signed, get it clocked in with the clerk, get a butter notification out, and from the date it's clocked in with the town clerk, the 20-day appeal period begins.
Do we need a motion on this one? Would you
Please,
like
let's-
one?
Yeah,
Yeah, I
normally
think
you
under
do.
the circumstances, it would be
With the-
wise.
with the,
Yeah. I move that we approve the decision as amended.
Okay, second.
Second.
Second by Mike Walsh. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Nance, you a nay or?
I'm nay.
Nay. Okay.
Mike Raisik, were you a yay?
No, I'm an aye. I mean,
That was just to
This-
ratify the decision.
yeah, the decision properly represents what the board decided.
Right.
That's what I'm voting on.
I gotta step out.
I disagree with it, but it's what we agreed.
Do I need to leave or for this, or can I just sit here or?
No, you definitely should remove yourself from,
I'm gonna ruin myself and
Okay.
you step in.
Yeah, yes. Okay. So, let the record note that the chair has recused. We have a new public hearing, 1416 Fletcher Street, by the 1416 Fletcher Street LLC for the property located at 1415 Fletcher Street. Surprise. Request a special permit for a kennel use under, says Attachment 1 D5 to operate a self-dog wash and play establishment and other zoning relief that is deemed necessary. The site is located in the CD General Commercial District and consists of approximately 1.4 acres, as shown on the Assessor's Map 73-319-1. And I'm dying to find out what a self-dog wash and play establishment looks like.
Well, we have 1,500 square feet over here.
Oh, could you identify yourself first,
Hi,
just
I'm
so we
sorry.
get your name in the
I'm
record?
Cheryl Maggio. Actually, I'm from the Lowell area.
Yep.
I'm also a realtor around the area as well. I'm looking to do a self-dog wash over here on Fletcher Street, which will consist of just 2 washing stations where dog owners can come in and wash their dog on their own. We'll provide the towels, the shampoo, and the cleanup. My waiting area is going to be like just 2 small little play areas, so when you come in, you can have a little playtime with your dog before getting him in the bath. Just kind of making a little relaxed atmosphere, making it fun, bonding experience for pet and owner, and just providing a convenient service for the community.
Thank you. Interesting. Okay, what have we got here for documentation that we need to look at? We have, there is a document I don't have a copy of, unfortunately, because we don't have our computers up.
Which document are you referring to?
It's referenced here, Fletcher Kennel Dog Wash, 8/11/2021.
Yeah, Colleen, can you bring up the attachments on the screen, please?
So I have some letters here, too.
Oh, okay. Well, why don't you read the
But it
letters?
would be
while-
nice to have a plan first.
Okay, so we can,
Do we get a plan?
There was a plan.
it's referenced, oh, there we go.
Yeah, it's pretty much just the sort of plan of the
All
the
right.
layout.
What do we have for letters from whom?
Oh, let's see.
Which
Okay.
building?
I have no idea what I'm looking at with this plan. Okay, legal notice. Town of Chelmsford Planning Board will be conducting an in-person meeting in room 204 at the town offices at 50 Billrica Road with a link to access the meeting remotely on Thursday, August 11th, 2021 at 7 p.m. to consider the application submitted by 1416 Fletcher Street, 1416 Fletcher Street LLC for the property located at 1415 Fletcher Street. Requests a special permit for a kennel use under Attachment 1, D5, to operate a self-dog wash and play establishment and any other zoning relief that is deemed necessary. The site is located in the CD General Commercial District and consists of approximately 1.4 acres as shown on Assessor's Map 73, 319, 1. A copy of the proposal is available in the Community Development Department in room LL01 of the town offices, 50 Billrica Road, Chelmsford, Mass. 01824, and may be viewed Monday through Thursday between 9 a.m. and 4 p.m. and Fridays 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. All interested parties are invited to comment in writing or may present any relevant information for consideration at the public hearing on Wednesday, August 11th, 2021. Per order, Tim Shanahan, Chair, Chelmsford Planning Board. The next one is from the Board of Health. 1416 Fletcher Street, 1416 Fletcher Street LLC for the property located at 1415 Fletcher Street. Requests a special permit, same thing as before. Attached are documents that have been submitted for August 11th, 2021 board meeting. Please submit your comments or recommendations. See attached letter from the Board of Health. The attached letter. Dear Board of Appeals,
That's wrong.
this letter is in response to the request for a special permit for a dog wash facility located at 1416 Fletcher, Chelmsford. It is noted in the proposed documents that there may be a future plan to open a cafe area and have a wash and play cafe. If the intention of this cafe would be to serve food for human consumption, this would not be allowed under the food code. I request that if this special permit is approved, that it be with the condition that there is never food for human consumption allowed at the dog wash business. Secondly, it is noted that there will be sub-metering for water usage for the business. It is required by the Massachusetts Department of Public Health that the MDPH sub-metering certification form be completed, and the Board of Health receive a copy of the sub-metering agreement to keep on file in the Board of Health office.
How will they allow us to be
The next letter is from the fire department regarding proposed dog wash at 1416 Fletcher Street. Dear members of the board, this office was asked to review the proposal for a self-service dog wash at 1416 Fletcher Street. This office has no concerns about this project. Compliance with fire codes will be determined at the final inspection for occupancy. The Fire Prevention Office would approve of this application and ask that the board make this letter a part of their approval and review process. Respectfully, Captain Karsoufis. And the last letter is from the police department, 1416 Fletcher Street, 1416 Fletcher Street LLC for the property located at 1415 Fletcher Street. Requests a special permit for a kennel use under attachment 1D5 to operate a self-dog wash and play establishment and any other zoning relief that is deemed necessary. The site is located in the CD General Commercial District and consists of approximately 1.4 acres as shown on Assessor's Map 73, 3191. Attached are documents that have been submitted for August 11th, 2021 board meeting. Please submit your comments or recommendations by August 6th. No comments from the police department.
Okay.
Is there anything from the sewer department saying they've got capacity?
Not a thing. Donata.
Okay.
That would be DPW or that, or,
That's sewer.
Sewer
mean,
will
do-
come from. Well,
They're
there's-
separate.
Presumably, there's an existing use there now, and it has an existing sewer hookup. So I would imagine that unless there was something particularly unusual about this,
well, it seems like they might use
So
a
is-
lot of water.
Yeah,
you would use a bit
I
of water.
would think they'd use a lot of water. So is this drawing that we were looking at inside or outside?
Just inside, just sort of the basic setup that I'm sort of trying to plan ahead on.
Is this the old convenience store?
Yes.
All right.
So like when you walk in there, we have some existing plumbing connections that have been on the right side, which I'm going to work off of. Like I said, I'm only setting up 2 washing stations, so it's going to be pretty small, intimate setting, only like 2 customers in per booking. So every booking will be about 55 minutes long. Only want to keep it to at least, some owners may have 2 dogs bringing in at a time. So I didn't foresee more than 2 dogs in at an appointment hour, but who knows? What if somebody comes in that has 2 dogs? The next person's waiting, you've got 4 dogs now in your shop. So the town advisor should go for the kenneling license, and this is why I'm here now.
Yep. Anybody on the board have comments before I open up a public session?
Is there any outside at all associated with this area for the dogs to run, anything?
We have a lot, there's a parking lot over there, but I don't have any intentions of making an outdoor play area for dogs in the future, nor do I intend on doing any food in the future as well, or human consumption.
Okay.
So it seems to me like we should have something from sewer and water.
Oh, let's
I know
open
I've
up.
talked with them on this, and they're just trying to figure out what my flow of water would be, but my sense is that you may check in with local groomers and see how much water consumption that they're partaking in, and maybe kind of mimic it from there.
Evan, has this been brought to the,
Yeah, I'm looking-
is there anything that they would have to say?
Clearly, they didn't submit anything official. I do see emails on this to Steve Yonley that date back to
Back
May
at home.
10th. But I don't want to speculate. So my suggestion is, do the public input,
Yeah.
do board considerations, and then either continue to the next meeting until you have a letter, definitive letter from DPW, or approve conditionally upon anticipation that DPW
Okay,
doesn't
yeah, I
have
think
any
that might make
concerns.
some, depending on what the comment is. Okay, that makes sense. Anybody else on the board like to chime in? Anybody?
I think I have a question.
Yeah. Who is that?
This is Erica, sorry.
Oh, hi, Erica. Yeah.
Hi, sorry. I only wanted to ask, I know there's not going to be any outdoor play area, but looking at the space available, there is some lawn area that people could bring their dogs over to use the bathroom on. Are you planning on providing kind of like a potty station, like with baggies and the trash
Yeah, I
barrels?
figured it kind of goes with the territory. If you never know what dogs are going to do, so I will certainly make sure I have a barrel with the proper disposal, and even most likely hire a company come in and take the waste away like once or twice a week.
Understood, yep.
Great, okay.
Very good. Anybody else? Okay, well, this being a
One
public...
moment, Colleen has just
Colleen's got
emailed
something?
the DPW.
Oh, we have a letter?
Yeah, let me see.
If it's germane, go ahead and read it.
No, I don't see it. You go to public first. and
Okay.
I'll-
Sure, all right, this being a public hearing, I would like to invite any members of the public to step up and comment if they wish. Okay, seeing none? Oh, we have one. Here comes Tim.
Oh, sorry.
Hi, Tim Shanahan, 18 Housatonic Ave. I'm the property manager over there. We're very excited to have her on board, and so is a lot of the neighbors. I would ask that you do approve it with contingency, though, because she's been waiting a long time, and as have we, to get started on the project. So for her to wait, a couple more weeks, it's kind of unfair to her. So that's all I would ask. I know that the neighbors I've talked to are excited to have the business there. She's been, this is one of her dreams, to open up this business, so she's very excited as well. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thanks, Tim. Thank you. Would anybody else like to comment? All right, I see none. Therefore, I think I would accept a motion to close the public hearing.
Make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
So, motion second. All in favor?
Aye. Who seconded that?
Huh?
Deirdre.
Deirdre says, Deirdre seconded that. Okay, so we are now in deliberation. It's interesting, I had visions of dogs going in and washing themselves, so I guess that's not quite,
Sure, we could train them.
I mean,
well,
they call it a kennel, but it's really not a kennel. You're
yeah, it's not really a
keeping
kennel.
dogs.
This sounds like a marvelous idea.
Thank you. Hope
And,
it'll be a good service for the town,
Yeah.
save people the mess in their homes.
Yeah.
I see no issue. Well, let me pass it around, and I'll make my comments at the end.
Well, are we gonna hear is there a relevant letter from DPW?
No.
No, but
No,
we
we're
should
gonna
probably
have-
get one.
We're gonna take and either wait until the next meeting to get it.
Yeah.
or-
No, I just thought Evan had something, but he just was.
Yeah, there was that email from May, and even dating further back to March, Steve Yonley replied, "I need to know how many wash stations so I can try to calculate the flow." And I think Christina, who does your reviews, has
Yeah.
been out on vacation, I think, starting last week, so this may kind of fallen through the crack there.
Okay, well, I think I know how to frame a motion here.
What about what are the hours gonna be?
I'm still kind of tailoring it, but I really am going to operate a 6-day a week with Mondays closed. Tuesdays, shorter day, just because it's generally a quieter day. Wednesdays, I think I'm going to make it a senior citizen day with a shorter day. Weekends would be my long days, like from 10 to 6 on Saturday and Sundays.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
Where I think
active down there. I don't know if anybody's been to Necessity's
Yeah.
Ice Cream down there.
Yeah,
There's people
it's-
down there
Yeah.
at night, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you're not got any real neighbors, residents.
No, not any residential neighbors.
No, it's like a nice little cutoff area and across from the veterinarian office too,
Right.
so
Okay.
kind of
well,
convenient.
I think this makes sense. I would make one comment on the Board of Health's request, and I would say that because we are not well-versed
Are
in
you
the
gonna-
Board of Health's regulations.
Are you gonna ask Nancy if she's got a comment, or?
Yeah, I just asked around, I didn't get any noises.
I don't.
Since we're not well-versed in that, I think it probably would be wiser for us, rather than to make any conditions having to do with food or not, lack of service of food there, just to remind the proponent that they probably should seek, if they wish to do something like that, to seek appropriate permitting. And I can imagine you could, divide the place up, separate doors, who knows? But I don't think we should necessarily put anything in.
It's not included in the application.
Yeah, it's not included in the
We're not
application.
No, I
reviewing
took it
an
off the
application.
it was
Let's not
initially, it was my
guess it.
initial forethought of like, oh, a nice little play wash cafe. But you know what, taking the food element is just only making it more simplified from my end,
Yeah,
too.
okay, that's
So,
fine. Well, you can,
not really-
I think what my message is,
Yeah.
you can deal with the Board of Health on that one. I don't think
Exactly.
that's,
In
we
the
need
future,
to do
perhaps,
anything.
but at this point in time,
Yeah.
I'm not reflective of
Okay.
pursuing that at this moment.
Even doggy treats?
Doggy treats, but they told me, but the Board of Health did tell me that does not fall underneath human consumption. So I
doesn't.
do have the okay to sell doggy treats. So,
Got a couple of doggies that might visit.
yes, we'll enjoy to have them. So.
Okay, anybody else have a comment here? Any at all?
You said you were forming a decision.
I think it makes sense to have a motion to allow to grant the special permits, and I think the condition would be something like, subject to an affirmative statement from the sewer department or the DPW that this is consistent
Yeah, makes sense.
with our current sewer moratorium.
I agree.
Okay, if we could do something like that, if somebody cares to make that motion?
As worded?
I have a motion?
Second.
Second? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
You're on.
Thank you very much, Board. Good evening.
You'll write up the, whatever's needed for the final decision, or for the statement. I don't think we need to review it. Gee, I did have this vision of these dogs kind of going in,
Bugs flying everywhere.
Yeah.
Sounds like I have to stop eating doggy treats.
Yeah.
All right, next up is 10 Technology Drive, Site Plan Special Permit Review. 10 Technology Drive, Avery Products Corporation, for property located at 10 Technology Drive, request a site plan review under 195-104 and a special permits per section 195-21-6. Dead-end parking 195-44, internal landscaping 195-54, major business complex 195-44C, buffer strips, and any other relief that is deemed necessary. The project proposes a construction of a new 43,038 square foot building with associated site improvements. The site is located in the IA Limited District, consisting of approximately 137 square feet, as shown in Assessor's Map 27-74-1. Thank you, sir.
Oh, I know that piece.
Thank you. I want to try and steal hers. I do have letters.
Mr. Chairman and members of the board, for your record, my name is Steve Stopinski from Merrimack Engineering. Our office prepared the plans that are before you this evening. 10 Technology Drive is the last vacant parcel of land located on the north side of Technology Drive at the Chelmsford Lowell line. The property line of the site is the town line boundary. The site is approximately 4 acres, just about 4 acres in size. It's all upland. It's all been filled, graded, cut, disturbed, bulldozed. And there's scrub brush growing on it, and the trees at this point are beginning to become mature. There's a large wetland area in the back of the site. We had filed with Conservation a request for determination of applicability to fix the wetland line. They did that. We've also filed a notice of intent with them. They've opened the hearing, and there were really no issues with the commission on the project. They've continued it till next week to allow the planning board to hopefully act on it this evening. The site has a sanitary sewer easement running through the rear third of the site. That provides a constraint because there's an actual meter station before the sewer goes into Lowell. So there's a meter station and telemetering system for the town and for the sanitary district. There's also a Verizon telephone easement with significant telecommunications equipment in the southeast portion of the site with an emergency generator and paved access into the site. And then across the southwesterly portion of the site, there's a slope and utility easement, and essentially that's there to provide water service. The water main runs through there to the Maxim office building, which is to the west of the site. To the east of the site is an office building and parking lot. So the proposal is to construct a 44,000 square foot building. It will be occupied by a division of Avery Correction Labels. There'll be one singular driveway that comes in from Technology Drive near the lower line. There's over 300 feet of visibility each way to it. Driveway comes in. There's parking in the front of the site, which has been designed to accommodate fire truck access to the front of the building. Then a 30-foot wide driveway along the easterly side of the building to the rear, where we have a turnout to allow three loading docks, 3 loading doors in the back. We also have a drive-up, call it a drive-in door, but it's not really, they don't drive into the building. They drive, this is for step vans like UPS, FedEx, drive up and drop off packages, pick up packages for shipping. So that's not tailgated. We also have parking along the easterly side and the westerly side of the building. The site slopes down from Technology Drive towards the wetlands, and the grading for the site, because of the constraints of the sewer, the meter station, the easement, and the Verizon easement, it's a little bit tight, but basically we come in with a driveway that's about 3% slope. The parking lot in the front is designed 3 to 4% slope, so we've minimized the steep slopes. Like a 1 to 2% slope on the right-hand side, and the same in the back, 1% in the back and the westerly side. The building's set up so that essentially we're going to be doing filling in the back. We have no detention pond on the site, but everything that we're doing for stormwater management is groundwater recharge through infiltration systems. So we have catch basins in the front that collect the runoff and then discharge it into storm scepters, which treat the runoff, and then into a underground detention system on the easterly side of the building. More catch basins tying into that system. And then in the rear of the building, we have a larger infiltration system under the pavement. Again, catch basins to storm scepters to the infiltration system, and the same thing on the westerly side. The roof has no internal roof drains. Literally from the front to the back, the roof slopes. So along the back of the building, we have roof scuppers along the edges that collect the water, goes into downspouts, underground piping, and into the infiltration system. The systems have been, we originally designed them on the first submission we made to you for a 25-year storm. We've now upgraded the design to a 100-year storm after our discussions with the town engineer. The site is serviced with town water from Technology, or Water District water from Technology Drive. There is a water main easement and a water main running through the site. There's a stub off of that. We're going to be connecting to the stub. This is at the suggestion of the Water District. We're going to connect to that stub and run the fire service over to the right-hand side of the building. We'll also be adding, we've added onto the plan from our initial submission, a hydrant in the front near the fire department connection, 60 feet away, and a hydrant in the back as well for fire department use. The domestic service comes in off of a tap from that same main. The sewer will be connected directly to the sewer main that runs through the site. There's already a lateral that goes beyond the easement. We're going to connect to that and extend it to the building. One of the things that the town engineer has requested is that we provide a sewer flow meter in that pipeline and at that connection, which I guess I'll talk about in a minute, which we've agreed to do. In terms of the telephone, electric, telecommunications, and gas, that'll all be underground from Technology Drive. There's a walkway that connects the westerly to the southerly parking lot in the front and the easterly parking lot on the east side of the building as well. The entrances on the side are primarily employee entrances, as well as the front employee and guests. The way Avery works here is they are going to be taking 4 separate divisions who make business cards. Basically, they make business cards. So you go on the internet, you design your business card, or you have them design the business card, you give them the order, it comes to them electronically, or a printer takes the order, or another company takes the order, a middleman. They send it to Avery, they get it, they set it up, they print it, and then they ship it out to you the same or the next day. And that's really what they're doing. So this building's going to have 4 lines of printing, and they basically are going to take other locations that they have, Lowell, Framingham, and I think one other place, and combine them into this location. And it'll be all the newest equipment. It's very clean operation. It's not dirty at all. It's just a very clean operation. Initially, there'll be no more than 30 employees when the facility opens, and it'll probably be that way for the next couple of years. They eventually want to grow to 75 or 80 employees, hence the reason for the parking design that you see on the site. We're not asking for a waiver to not build it. It's Avery's position that they're better off spending today's dollars to build this rather than tomorrow's money. So they want to build the parking so they have the capability to expand for future employees. Also, that sort of created a little discussion with the sewer department and the town engineer. We have the sewer moratorium to deal with. Because there are only 30 employees, the gallonage is 450 gallons a day of sewer flow, average flow, and so we're less than the 500, which is the cutoff for the moratorium. So we've already discussed that with them, and there's no reason that we really can't comply with that, which is why the town engineer requested the sewer meter just to be able to verify what the flow is and the employee count. So that's it in a nutshell. There's not a lot of, there's no exported material really except for excess loam that might exist on the site or some unsuitable soils. There'll be granular fills brought into the site, so that'll be the bulk of the trucking, but it'll really probably be foundation and steel, probably be the most amount of trucking you're going to have coming in and out of the site. I think you saw maybe on my second plan, the fire department single unit bus layout to show that the fire truck can access through the site. I will tell you that I did speak with the captain the other day and also this morning, and we have redesigned on our latest submission the plans that you have, the ability of the fire truck to actually turn up into the driveway and make a wide turn. So we don't need to build a circular turnaround as the Captain had recommended in his letter. And I think his letter was also before we added the hydrants on the site, which is something else that he recommended, and I sent him those plans again today. So in terms of our meeting with the town engineer, she gave us technical review comments. We made all the revisions. She reviewed them. I know she went on vacation. We had a conference call yesterday. She told me that I could represent to the board that we made all the changes that she had requested, and she's fine with them. She did have some comments on the underground drainage. Based on those comments, we revised the plans last night, the analysis last night, drafted them today, and I submitted them electronically today. And the copies that you have are those which we sent to her today. The general contractor is Jewett Construction. There's a representative here, should you have questions on the building itself. I think the plans that I have provided show the landscaping around the parking lot, and we do have the 25-foot no disturb zone that we're respecting along the back, so we have no back planting against the wetlands. We do have office buildings on each side of us, so I'm happy to answer any questions you have on those. Also, the package that we submitted originally, the revised plans cause no change to the parking lot lighting. All the lighting on the site is confined within the site boundaries, so there's no overspill into the street or the adjacent properties. So you can look at those contours and the plans that we sent previously.
Thank you. Do you have any letters you want to read?
I have letters, as a matter of fact. First letter is from Christina Papadopoulos from the town engineer. Subject, Planning Board File 2021-04, 10 Technology Drive, new building. Dear members, this office has reviewed the site plans by Merrimack Engineering consisting of 11 sheets dated June 11th, 2021, and a stormwater management report dated June 3rd, 2021. As a result of this review, this office has the following comments. 1. This department shall be notified when work on site is to commence in order to arrange for inspections. 2. Any revision to the drainage system shall be submitted and approved by this office. 3. A stormwater operation and maintenance plan shall be followed as described in the report. Copies of any inspections or other reports done in accordance with the plan shall be forwarded to the engineering office. 4. A site as-built shall be provided upon completion of the work on site. As-built to include a letter from the engineer stating that all stormwater devices have been built to satisfy Mass stormwater standards. Provide all supporting documents and calculations. The as-built shall be from a ground survey and submitted in AutoCAD and paper form. 5. Confirmatory testing shall be performed in the area of infiltration per stormwater management guidelines. Testing shall be witnessed by the Chelmsford DPW Engineering Division. All unsuitable material, if any, discovered in the excavation for the infiltration system shall be removed and disposed of in accordance with state and local regulations. 6. This project requires a NPDES Construction General Permit. A final copy of the Stormwater Pollution Prevention Plan, SWPPP, must be submitted to the town as well as filed with EPA prior to beginning any site work. 7. The sewer moratorium imposed by the Chelmsford Department of Public Works that became effective on September 15th, 2020, applies to this project. The moratorium allows for an increase of up to 500 gallons per day, GPD. In review of the proposed project, the building would be considered a factory or industrial plant with 15 GPD per employee. Presenting 30 employees would require 450 GPD flow. There is no process effluent from the printing. This is within the limits, and they will be allowed to connect to the municipal sewer system. 8. The proposed sewer work will require permitting and applicable fees from the DPW Sewer Division for connection to the municipal sewer system. 9. A road opening permit is required from the Chelmsford DPW Highway Division for work within the Technology Drive right-of-way. 10, trench permits shall be filed as necessary per 520 CMR 14.00, Chapter 82A. 11, the plans require modifications. This includes improvements to the public right-of-way and stormwater calculations. The design engineer has received design and drafting review comments from this office. If you have any questions, please contact this office at 978-250-5228. Sincerely, Christina Papadopoulos. The next letter is also from Christina. Dear members, this office has an additional comment to be added to the public hearing regarding this project. The Chelmsford Department of Public Works requires an effluent meter to be installed. Flows that exceed allowable limits will be penalized. If you have any questions, please contact this office at 978-250-5228. Sincerely, Christina Papadopoulos, Town Engineer. The next letter is from the Fire Department. Dear members of the board, the Fire Prevention Office has reviewed the proposal for a new building at 10 Technology Drive and finds the following. Water supply appears to be adequate. The required pressure and flow shall be confirmed by a current water flow test performed proximate to the site, with all calculations submitted to this department for review and approval. The applicant shall coordinate with the North Chelmsford Water District to arrange the flow test. Hydrant locations shown on this plan are inadequate. There are no hydrants proposed on the submitted site plan and no fire department connection indicated on the utility plan. The fire department connection shall be of the 4-inch stores type and shall be located on the Technology Drive south facing side of the building. The developer shall provide paved access to the fire department connection, which must be always maintained. The Fire Prevention Office requires a hydrant within 60 feet of the fire department connection and will require a second hydrant in the rear of the building near the loading dock. Hydrants and fire protection equipment shall be free from landscaping obstructions. Access for firefighting apparatus and emergency vehicles is not acceptable. The applicant shall provide a fire apparatus turnaround on the dead-end parking area on the west side of the building. The Fire Prevention Office is amenable to using grass pavers or a geogrid-type system in this area. The applicant shall provide this office with swept path analysis using the AASHTO Bus 45 turning template. Fire apparatus access shall be designed by a registered engineer to withstand the weight of fire apparatus. Snow storage shall not obstruct or impede fire access roads or turnarounds. All exits shall have sidewalks to allow a continuous path from the exit that lead to a public way. The dumpster location shown on this path is adequate. An automatic sprinkler system conforming to NFPA 13 and a fire alarm system conforming to NFPA 72 shall be required. Both systems shall be monitored by a UL-approved central station monitoring service, and all components and fire protection systems must comply with State Building Code and Chelmsford Fire Department requirements. All work on fire alarm, sprinkler, and bidirectional amplifier systems must be permitted through the Chelmsford Fire Department online permitting system. All equipment related to fire safety shall be located at the discretion of the Chelmsford Fire Department. The applicant is advised that testing for emergency radio responder communication and, if necessary, installation of a bidirectional amplifier system shall be required prior to occupancy being granted. The applicant must apply to the Town of Chelmsford E911 Committee for address through its coordinator, Town Clerk Tricia Zuris. This office cannot approve of this plan until these concerns are rectified. I ask the board to make this letter a part of their review process. Respectfully submitted, Captain Katsufis. Katsufis. Yeah. The next letter is from the Water District. It says, "See attached letter." Dear Planning Board members, the Board of Water Commissioners of the North Chelmsford Water District has reviewed the proposed site plan and special permit application for 10 Technology Drive, Chelmsford, Mass., to construct a 4,338 square foot building. The North Chelmsford Water District can supply water with the full understanding that the applicant shall follow the rules and regulations of the North Chelmsford Water District and the Chelmsford Fire Department's requirements and agree to the following conditions. Well, this is interesting. 7, the water distribution main will be a minimum of 8-inch ductile iron, and the domestic water services will be 2-inch and protected with a State of Massachusetts approved backflow preventer. The domestic 2-inch water service will be tapped separately from the existing water main on 8 Technology Drive to eliminate a dead end. 8, the fire sprinkler service entering the building will be a minimum of 6-inch ductile iron and be protected with a State of Massachusetts approved backflow preventer. 9, the distribution system, as shown on the utility plan, is a dead end and must have a fire hydrants for fire flow and flushing at the very end, near the loading dock, and be designed to flow as not to disturb any landscaping or cause any damage. 10, the fire department requires a fire hydrant within 60 feet of the fire department connection, not shown on utility plan. 11, the applicant shall pay a water impact fee based on the size of the domestic water service. The applicant shall pay a fire sprinkler impact fee based on the total square footage of the total fire sprinkler area. 12, all materials are to be purchased through the North Chelmsford Water District per our specifications. Sincerely, Bruce J. Harper, Superintendent.
Should we get confirmation that we're not missing 1 through 6 from him, just to...
I would think.
Evan, just to verify? I'm sure we're not, but...
Yeah, I mean, we're basically, I think we're gonna have to get them to review the plans again, since we've had so many objections to the plan that was reviewed. But, let's continue. The building commissioner has no comments. The Board of Health has no comments.
I think the fire department letter, he corrected already. You said there was going to be a hydrant in the front and the back,
Yeah.
too.
Right.
I think a lot of them have been connected.
Yeah.
I think these reviews were
They should
done
review it.
on the original submission.
Yeah.
And then we made another submission the beginning of last week, and the department head still hadn't weighed in yet with reports.
So we'll get confirmation to get those
Right.
letters
So,
updated.
We need
So anyway,
letters.
And do we need anything from police?
We didn't receive anything, Evan, to date, right, from police?
Apparently not.
No, so we'll have to, well, we're gonna be sending around to everybody so we can check with them as well on that. Anybody will go around the board with questions? Wanna start?
Wanna go first?
A
Paul?
lot there.
Yeah.
It sounds like the fire department had the biggest issue, right?
What's that?
It sounded like the fire department had the most amount of, issues.
No, I think he
They're all
actually,
Yeah,
he actually has already satisfied most of them.
So we just need a letter to that
Yeah, we
effect.
just need him to confirm that. So, do you have anything? No?
All right, anybody talking about 53G yet?
I'm sorry, what?
53G? You're creating parking spots?
As far as the,
It's a fee that the charge town, that, do you know what that number would be, Evan?
That's $100 per new parking spot.
And what'd you say you were doing, 50 parking spots?
no, we have a total of 76.
76.
$7,600.
That's something to consider. Do we have a view of what the front of this building's gonna look like with the fire department's recommendations? I mean, I know it's a commercial building and the sides I'm not as worried about, but I'd like to see a landscape view of the front.
Okay, I think we might have front view elevations. I can have
I'm looking for landscaping. I'm just trying to let you know.
There's no landscaping plan.
There's no landscaping, you know?
The landscaping plan is sheet 11.
Right, and it's all low-level, shrubbery. We do have a couple of trees. I think I have little leaf lindens. The reason for that is because of the leaves blocking the grate. They'll pass through and get caught in the storm scepter. So,
Was that, I'm sorry, what was it?
little leaf lindens. So, rather than oaks or maples. So, they're a little more stormwater friendly. So I think we have two.
Do we have a view of what the front of the building looks like at all?
I think,
It's up to them.
I think Jewett does, and
Which
Right.
one is it? It's the,
would be, this is the, I believe this is the front entryway, right there.
front entryway.
It's 1 story?
It's 1.5 in the front.
The K rating for the outside lights?
That I don't actually know the K rating, so I can't really address that. I don't know that off the top of my head.
Is there a sidewalk in the front of this property that needs to be extended across it?
There's no sidewalk in front of the property. There's a sidewalk that ends at the property line from across the
Yeah.
Maxim office building on the left. And then on the right-hand side, at the town line, there isn't one. We have the driveway into the Verizon easement. We're building a sidewalk,
Yeah.
5 foot wide, along Technology Drive in front of our site. That's something Christina had requested of us. So we've shown that on the revised plan last week, and of course on the drawings that I sent you tonight.
So that driveway will connect all the way through, is that what you're asking?
Right, so that'll connect through
Yes. that's
to
what I'm
Lowell,
asking,
right.
yes. My only, glad to have you come to town. It's great to see projects like this. I would like to see more, I'd like to get a view of what the landscape is gonna look like when it's all said and done.
Yeah, this is not.
So, that's my only comment right now. I will pass it along the board further, and the 53G, we can have that discussion later, but that's what we're looking for.
No comments.
No, I pretty much agree with Henry. I would like to see something of a picture, particularly of the landscaping. I can kind of envision it from your landscaping drawing here, but it would be nice, if possible, to get something with a bit more view. Also, I noticed that the way the landscaping is set up, you kind of have landscape areas on the side, but nothing across the front. That may be intentional, and that may be fine, but there's an opportunity there. It's depending on how visible you want the building to be, you know.
Yeah, I'm pretty concerned about the landscaping because it really looks deficient for that area. I'm also concerned about where the eastern white pines are, and since this is smaller than my eyes will read, I really can't tell where they're at. So, Evan, this is by right, it's not overlay?
Correct, they're not permitting with the overlay.
They're not permitting as overlay, so we don't really have a lot of latitude for the looks of the building in terms of negotiating better architecture.
Under site plan, architectural review is
I know.
permitted, but it's a lighter
I honestly
version.
think if we had a little better rendering, we might have a better
Yeah,
idea of what
that's-
it looks like.
Yeah, I think that's true. I mean, I'm having a hard time with this set of prints.
I'd be happy to elaborate a little bit on the architecture of what's helpful.
What I would also add is that the building is actually set 9 feet down from the street. So if you look at the grade of the street, it's 129, 128, 129. The first floor is 119. So if we went back to the elevation view, Evan, that you had up there on the screen, you would see there's only a small amount of building that you're going to see. From the street itself, you're not really going to see, we're down 9 feet from the street, and if you're in the car, that adds another 3 feet to it. So you're going to be looking at kind of the top of our building. It's not like it has a street presence, more like the Maxim building does. You know, you're going to be seeing from the front, you're going to be seeing about this. So landscaping in here along the front, what we did is rather than asking a waiver to the parking lot size and a waiver or a variance to the setbacks along the front, from the front to the parking, what we did is we have a sidewalk parking and a sidewalk and like a crushed stone strip that could become a planting strip, but it's a small strip. And we did that rather than, so we're fully compliant with all your dimensional requirements. Could have created a little bit more planting. That's the original plan, was to put a 6-foot planting strip there, but then we wouldn't be able to comply. And the reason we couldn't push the building back the extra 3 or 4 feet is because of the sewer main. So if you didn't have the sewer easement and the sewer main running through our site, we would have more room to push everything back. So that's what sort of created. So the decision was, do we make it 5 feet or 6 feet between the sidewalk and the building, or and not comply with everything and ask for a variance or a waiver to setbacks, or do we become fully compliant and put the crushed stone and the smaller planting strip there? So that was the reasoning and the thought behind it.
Nancy, do you have any other questions? Deirdre?
No, I guess the only thing I would say is it may or it may not be relevant, but we as a board are prioritizing, as is, it sounds like Christina, more green-friendly landscaping. So I don't know if there's any way in which the limited amount you're doing, if you could keep that in the front of your mind, I guess.
Yeah, and again, this entire site, there's nothing virgin about the site. It's been totally disturbed. It's scrub brush, and there are people who are living on the site, and constantly. I mean, we went out to do test pits. We had to move them. Went out to survey. We had to have them moved. I mean, it's a constant thing. It's a constant issue, and So I think the idea is to try to promote as much grass and lawn as possible, and deal with the environmental friendliness through the recharge, rather than trying to create areas adjacent to the wetlands for detention, and on the westerly portion of the site for detention, where we can keep a large buffer zone between the adjacent Maxim property and the sidewalk vegetated. So we had a lot of constraints and a lot of trade-offs, and we did give a lot of thought to it, candidly. So.
Okay, nobody else have anything?
So do we get an updated drawing that shows sidewalks?
This plan shows the sidewalk. If you look at
Which sheet?
Sheet 3, shows the proposed sidewalk in the front of the site in the Technology Drive right-of-way.
Ah, all right.
And then you'll see on the westerly side, the parking lot on the west, the northwest, in the back, connects all the way to the front, as well as to all the side doors. And the sidewalk on the right interconnects to the side doors and to the front as well. So there's through circulation
All right.
in all the access points.
So that proposed 20-foot wide landscape area, what is that? Is it grass? Is it, it says proposed 20-foot wide landscape area.
That's, that's, primarily it's grass. If you look at the parking lot, what we did is we planted along the edge of the parking lot so that we could leave the natural vegetation that's there now to grow outside of the limited grading. So you can almost sort of look at our limited grading, for example, on the section of the property line that says 137.43. You look at sheet 10, the grading plan, there's almost no grading in there. So that slug of vegetation that's there will remain and doesn't have to be disturbed.
So what's currently in there for vegetation?
Right now,
Yeah.
it's a mixture. It's basically scrub that has, grown up. So
Just
you've
natural.
got to, right, it's all natural. After the site was disturbed, bulldozed, filled, I think it's been, I'm going to guess 8 to 10 years. It's a mixture. You've got, I know there's a couple of pin oaks there, a lot of sumac growing.
Are there,
I think there's a couple of willows as well.
okay. Is there overhead power lines on that side of the road?
Everything's underground.
It's all underground in the
Underground.
area?
Yeah, and it'll be underground into the building.
Okay, Evan, did
So
you have
it's
any?
even on the street?
Yes. Street is
Yeah, I
under.
would say, if, it sounds like some members of the board are looking for more landscaping along the street. If that's the case, give clear direction. Doesn't sound like removing the scrub and, and doing a landscape plan is gonna be that, a big undertaking. So I think you just need to separate whether you're looking for more streetscape landscaping. There was also some mention of a better understanding as to what the front of the building looks like. So I don't know if you with the client, with the architect, may have had a color rendering at one time.
Or if we can have it for the next.
Yeah, I mean, one may have been already prepared for internal client.
That's not.
For the record, my name's Dan Ray. I'm here with Jewett Construction, representing the client as well as the design team here tonight. So what you're seeing on the screen, or what was previously up on the screen, I have just in a larger format. We do not have three-dimensional renderings produced yet, but we do have two-dimensional elevations with a lot of thought behind them, which I can elaborate on in a little more detail than what may be apparent to the naked eye.
I don't know if it's really, I think, because we're gonna have to come back to this anyways, so if we could get a better idea for the next meeting, I mean, you've kind of explained what it's gonna be. I think to us, it would be better to see,
Sure.
with our suggestions, with Henry's.
You need to talk about the 3G.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's, then my only other comments were roof equipment on the building should be screened.
Especially you'll be able to see it.
Yeah, I mean, we can,
Yeah.
if it's visible, we can just add a general condition
Yeah.
that it's screened. Your lighting plan shows a lot of freestanding lights. They comply with height. And then the photometric complies as well, but why so many lights? Why is the property so lit up? You're gonna be doing a lot of nighttime operation?
Steve, were you behind much of the lighting design at the site?
I think,
I mean, there's not, it's well lit, to put it that way.
yeah, I think the, try to say this in the right way. So I usually don't have the right words, but I'm gonna try. Given the situation
Yeah.
with the
Alright.
visitors
Yes.
that we have currently and that we've encountered, and the client, every time they are there to inspect it, they have to make calls to have people removed. Given the experience that they've had, I think they don't want to have that happen once they build this building. And they want to have it lit, they want to have it secure. The entire site will have security cameras on it. The security cameras are on the building and on the poles. That I know because I discussed that with the client in case it came up with the police department, which it didn't, but it's fully secure. It's not like the building across the street that's a government building. It's not like that, but certainly it's going to be secure for them, monitored, and that's the reason for the
Okay, that makes sense.
That's one of the reasons why I asked about the K rating, to see what it's gonna be.
Yeah, the specs were
Yeah.
3 to 5.
Well, that,
Yeah, so we,
Yeah,
No, that's-
exactly.
yeah, so
Not
either,
the right spec.
the board it usually applies the general condition of 4.
We would hope the visitors leave once the building is there, though.
but,
So
yeah, I just
hopefully
don't
we won't
wanna,
have to deal with that.
I don't wanna lie.
Well, I don't know where they'd stay,
Yeah.
the
Right,
Princess Building's
right.
in.
Are they going to do motion detector? Are they going to keep them on or have security lighting or?
It'll be, I just think regular
Rusted on.
lighting is what's planned right now, right?
Yeah, it's gonna be on a time clock, monitored through the seasons with the daylighting cycles. Nothing extraordinary about it.
And then, hot topic for the board, but your HVACs, your generators, anyone want to? I didn't happen to see them on the plan,
No, we didn't see
No,
me
we
either.
need to know where they are.
or where they're not going to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, what we're
better
trying to
check.
do is, like our street view, we don't wanna have it all crowded with equipment. We've had people come in, show us this beautiful plan, and then we end up,
Build it out.
won't build out,
disgusting.
and there's the air conditioners in the front, and there's everything
Sure.
else, and it doesn't look like it's supposed to.
Sure. Yeah, we've strategically avoided pad-mounted equipment, large air handlers. Also, with the rooftop units themselves, we've broken them into smaller, lower units by design, really, to avoid large point loads on the roof structure. But also, it's kind of killing two birds and keeping all the units a bit smaller and less visible from the street.
And usually in some of these projects, we'll also have them put like a fence on the roof, like the fire department next door, if you look at theirs.
Got it.
That type of thing, just to shield it a little bit so they're not looking at it.
Especially if it's that visible, because it's down low, so.
Yeah.
What
This will be because it's low.
What helps, I would say, is, as Steve was alluding to, the higher eave is facing the street and the roof pitches directly to the back of the site. So as the rooftops, and then most of the rooftop units are towards the back half of the building and servicing the production floor. So as you get towards those rooftop units, you're further away from the higher peak of the roof and they start to drop in elevation. So, with the elevation of the building and the street, there's a likelihood that they're still visible, but they're not going to be an eyesore by any means.
Okay. Excellent. Mike?
Yeah, looks to me to be a pretty good plan. Now that I understand that
Didn't let
the,
Erica say
Oh,
anything, I
yeah, let
apologize.
Erica.
Erica, are you on Zoom?
I am. I'm having Wi-Fi difficulties, so I've missed some things. So right now I have no comments.
Okay, all right, sorry, thank you.
all right, sure. I was just saying, now that I understand that the 9-foot drop, it makes something of a difference in the view of the building. And in fact, lawn in the front may be quite appropriate. I mean, it doesn't necessarily have to be shielded. I'm beginning to get a sense of what it might look like. But it sounds to me as if we probably want to continue this to the next meeting. If we could get some updates on the letters, I mean, I think most of the work has been done, but we should get some final statements. I'd like to hear from the fire department that they're happy with what you've done, although it sounds as if you've actually addressed it all.
Yeah.
And,
Renderings or?
yeah, and perhaps
Color
some,
of the building, we
Yeah.
wanna know what it, it's not gonna, yeah.
a rendering from the front would
Street
be
view,
very
yeah.
nice if you could
So
generate something.
is the board suggesting just the same elevations we produced, but with color and
Yeah,
a
just-
little
Well,
more?
also,
know what it looks
as,
like.
as seen
What
from the
it's gonna
street,
look
I mean,
like
you've shown
from
us
the
what the front of
street.
the building looks like, but you're not gonna see a lot of the front of the building down 9 feet. You're not gonna see the front door. I mean, that tells us, for example, that landscaping right in front of the building isn't gonna affect anybody, because you're never gonna see it,
Well, people who work there.
Well,
unless you put
yeah.
in 10-foot trees.
Well, there are all sorts of proposed landscaping all over the place,
Right,
but we
there
have
are.
no idea what's proposed.
Right.
Yeah, but I have no idea what they're proposing because
I
you
just
can't
a
read
better
it.
idea so we can understand
Yeah.
where you're coming from.
Okay.
And I guess also, I mean, we will at some point have public hearing on this, it being
Yeah.
special permits, but
I
we
don't know if
probably
there's
don't want to
anybody-
open that up yet until we get to the next round.
Well, until we know more, I think
Yeah.
once we get the updated letters, the renderings, then we can go from there.
Yeah, but I'd say,
I would ask if there's anybody in the public that has a question, get it out
Yeah,
now.
okay.
So
Yeah.
we could at least take and
Yeah,
get
yeah,
it.
they came. If they came, you should definitely.
Okay, is there anybody in the public, Colleen, with questions?
do we technically have to open a public hearing at this point to do that?
You've already done that. You've
Yeah.
already opened the
Yeah.
public
Did
hearing.
we actually?
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyone on Zoom?
Is there anyone
I'm
on,
I'm not seeing anybody that,
did we ever give a number for the Zoom to call, or how do people know to call in?
it's on the agenda.
No, we already went through that.
The
not on the
call-in
agenda.
number was not on the agenda.
Do you have a call-in number you could give us now, Colleen?
Oh, not immediately, but I can.
I would assume that someone can go to this, Evan, click on it. and
Oh,
then
yeah.
get in.
Yeah.
Okay,
Is
so,
there anybody in the audience?
is there anyone in the audience that has anything? Well, we'll be coming back to
Okay,
this as
so-
well. So if you do have any questions and you're not able to get on now, you will be able to.
So then I would move that we continue the public hearing.
I'd like to comment
Oh,
first.
sorry.
In terms of landscaping, the eastern white pines are generally not a reasonable landscaping plant. I would suggest that you find something different.
Is there anything you suggest?
Not particularly, but I strongly suggest that you don't use eastern white
What
pines.
about caliper sizes or what they're suggesting?
What they're suggesting, I mean, the only thing that's in here that you would be considered a tree is the little leaf linden. They're suggesting a 2-inch caliper. And for the linden, that's not a bad thing. It will catch at a 2-inch tree, at 2-inch caliper. But they're suggesting an 8-foot eastern white pine, and all they're gonna do is get gangly and ugly. So, I mean, they're just not a landscape tree. They're gonna get gangly, ugly, and eventually grow out of their space.
That's our plan.
We don't want gangly and ugly.
It's a really cheap, it's a really cheap tree that looks awful once it grows up.
If you don't mind looking at that.
Please look at it.
All right.
Okay, in that case, I would move that we continue the public hearing to our next meeting. And do you have enough information from us to know what
I
we
believe we
might be
do.
looking for?
Yeah, pretty
Okay.
clear.
Opponent knows about the 53G that we're looking for. That's the other.
Circle-
They did.
I'll circle with them on that.
Circle
They
them.
didn't before, they do now. Yep.
Okay,
Second?
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you, guys.
Thank you very much.
So this will be a nice addition up there. Get a few more jobs in town.
Yes.
Yeah, bring some more jobs.
I need to take a bathroom break.
Okay, we'll take a 2-minute break, or maybe a 5-minute break.
Not even 5 minutes. I'm pretty
5-minute break.
What do we have left, just 15?
TMI.
Reconvene at 8.
Parkhurst from former Applebee's, Drum Hill Associates LLC for the property located at 50 Drum Hill Road. Request a site plan review under 195-104 and special permits section 195-5, use regulations, attachment 1, line D, 22A, bank with drive-through on 195-17B, maximum on-site parking, and any other zoning relief that is deemed necessary. This project proposes the demolition of the existing structure and the construction of a new 3,292 square feet, single-story Chase Bank, freestanding drive-through kiosk with associated site improvements on a 63,238 square foot, 1.45 acre lease area. Site is located in the CC Shopping District and consists of approximately 18.5 acres as shown on Assessors Map 32-109-1. Okay.
Good evening. My name is Kai Burke. I'm with Core States Group, address 19 Stony Brook Road, Raleigh, Massachusetts. Online, I have Mark Sides, also with Core States, who's the architect, Matt McCool, who's with Chase Bank, and Larry Lesser, who's with Evergreen, the landscape architect. This one's hopefully a fairly simple one. We're replacing the former Applebee's restaurant, tearing down a 5,400 square foot building, replacing it with a 3,300 square foot building. The site is going to remain substantially as it is circulation-wise. We will be adding a drive-through ATM, which will be on the south side of the site. We'll have a five-stack queue for the ATM and a bypass lane there to make sure that that doesn't clog up any of the driveways or parking lot. We do have substantial parking, but it's existing that we're just leaving as kind of part of the existing shopping center. We will be refreshing the landscape and enhancing that with new plantings. And we're here to answer any questions you may have.
Okay, thank you. We'll start off, Paul. Henry?
So I take it the parking spots are either staying the same or less, so we don't have to worry about 53G with you, correct?
That's correct. I think we're reducing by 14
Yeah, which is
parking spots.
So do you give them back money?
That's what I'm here for, actually.
we will, this is one that I would want to see the streetscaping done fairly quickly on this, as far as, we've had other projects that have got dragged out for a long time. I think we need to talk about it a little bit among some board members here. This would be one of the ones that, my complaint of the temporary service sitting in front of the property, we will be giving you some direction on it, but what we're trying to look for is we want it to look decent from the street. I'm sure with the landscaping with what you're talking about,
Sure.
that's what you guys are looking for too. Do you have a street view of what this will look like with your landscaping? Do you have?
We do not have a rendering. We do have some I believe we have some colored elevations that were submitted, and we also have a landscaping plan, but we do not have a rendering showing that landscape.
Looks good, the grassed area, though.
Yeah, it is it's a reduction in impervious, and it'll be some additional planting areas.
So the shrubs on the side of the street, are they going away, the ones that are there now?
I think they will be, those will remain, and they'll be enhanced. There'll be additional plantings added. I don't know if, Colleen, if you can pull that landscape plan up.
That's not the landscape plan.
Looks good, though. What's behind it looks great.
That's what we're planning, a lot of that.
All right, let me see if I can come up with some more questions for you.
Landscape plan on the agenda.
Okay.
Have been part of the submittal, but I'll.
Is it LP-1?
Yes, it should be.
Okay, so you do have it.
These were in the set that was issued to us
Yeah,
2 meetings ago.
Yeah, okay.
Last meeting.
Yeah, we do have that, yeah.
So I've got
Okay, Mike or Henry, do you still?
some CDs.
Does she need to see them?
Your air conditioning equipment and everything else shielded?
Yes, sir. That'll all be screened by a
LP-1.
parapet on the building.
We need to see where they are on the plan, if you can, you're talking on the roof?
Yes,
Top of that parapet.
yes.
I think that's the major questions, the major issues I had, but I would like a board discussion on this after a while, as far as how long we give them to make the landscape and stuff look great, because it is on a major thoroughfare.
Michael?
No comments, nothing.
Yeah, I very much agree with Henry. We are intentionally trying to improve the streetscape look, particularly up there at Drum Hill.
Sure.
We have had some issues, none with you, I mean, certainly, but there's been some other spots up there that have, shall we say, come out a little less than ideal and have been late. So we'd be looking for, a nice, if you can get us a good rendering of that and make it substantial and.
From a construction standpoint, we put the landscaping in kind of towards the end, so you're mobilizing your sub once and they're,
Right.
out there. But, obviously.
The
we're gonna-
streetscaping, the stuff away from the building that we are interested in, and I've been burnt,
Sure. And obviously, you've got the CO mechanism to enforce that.
Yeah, we've had those issues before.
Okay. Indeed.
Well, I can tell you, just looking at all this green grass here, it looks like an improvement, for sure.
They're knocking off a couple
Deirdre,
thousand square
do you have any
Question,
questions?
there's not a
ma'am.
drive-through, there's a drive-through ATM, but not a drive-through?
There will not be a
window?
drive-through attached to the building. There'll be no drive-up window, teller windows.
Okay.
That's correct.
Is that it, Deirdre? Yep. That's,
Yeah, seems like there's still a lot of parking in there for the size of the building.
There
How did
is,
you calculate the appropriate number of parking spaces?
Typically, we would go in with a lot less, but that's existing parking that's kind of shared among the shopping center, and so we are removing some for the drive-through ATM and stuff like that, but we're not taking out the parking lot that's existing just for the sake of taking it out.
Do you have the opportunity to give us some more green space up there?
Yeah.
I can't speak to that directly. We'd have to check on that. We are providing an additional 5,500 square feet of green space on the lot.
Where you remove the building?
Correct, and in some planting areas around the site. So we are already making those improvements.
Yeah, pervious space is becoming a real issue because of the drainage issues.
Sure, and this will reduce
And
runoff volume.
this is a lot of impervious today. So I think this is an opportunity for us to look at how can we get more pervious space into that area.
Do we have any letters?
We do.
just gonna get to them.
Usually
Would you like me to
Yeah, she was
read
told
letters
to.
before we discuss?
we probably should have, yeah.
All right, well, let me do that. I'm not reading them unless somebody asks for them, so. Okay, sorry, but I'm new at this. Okay, this is a letter from Public Works. Dear members, this office has reviewed the site plans by Core State Group consisting of 16 sheets dated July 8th, 2021. As a result of this review, this office has the following comments. 1, this department shall be notified when work on site is to commence in order to arrange for inspections. 2, any revision to the drainage system shall be submitted and approved by this office. 3, a stormwater operation and maintenance plan shall be followed as described in the report. Copies of any inspections or other reports done in accordance with the plan shall be forwarded to the engineering office. 4, a site as-built shall be provided upon completion of the work on site. As-built to include a letter from the engineer stating that all stormwater devices have been built to satisfy Mass stormwater standards. Provide all supporting documents and calculations. The as-built shall be from a ground survey and submitted in AutoCAD and paper form. 5, the sewer moratorium imposed by the Chelmsford Department of Public Works that became effective on September 15th, 2020, does apply to this project because it is a change of use. The proposed use as a bank office will not increase the sewer flows compared to the previous use as a restaurant, so they will be permitted to connect to the town's sewer system. 6, the proposed sewer work will require permitting and applicable fees from the DPW Sewer Division for connection to the municipal sewer system. 7, trench permits shall be filed as necessary per 520 CMR 14.00, Chapter 82A. 8, this office requests additional minor revisions to the plans. If you have any questions, please contact this office at 978-250-5228. Sincerely, Christina Papadopoulos, Town Engineer. I have a letter from the Fire Department. Dear members of the board, the Fire Prevention Office has reviewed the proposal for a new building at 50 Drum Hill Road and finds the following. Water supply appears to be adequate. There is a currently existing fire hydrant on the site. This hydrant shall remain in operation. Access for firefighting apparatus and emergency vehicles is acceptable. Snow storage shall not obstruct or impede fire access roads or turnaround. All building exits shall have sidewalks to allow a continuous path from the exit that leads to a public way. The dumpster location shown on this plan is adequate. Due to the increasing number of calls for mulch fires this department responds to, this office recommends that no bark mulch be used on site. This department requests that rock mulch be used in all areas where bark mulch is proposed. A central station monitored, UL approved fire alarm system shall be required as a condition of fire department approval. The fire alarm system shall comply with NFPA 72 and all Chelmsford Fire Department requirements. The applicant is advised that testing for emergency radio responder communication and, if necessary, installation of a bidirectional amplifier system shall be required prior to occupancy being granted. The applicant must apply to the Town of Chelmsford E911 Committee for address through its coordinator, Town Clerk Tricia Juris. This office would approve this plan with these conditions and changes, and I ask the board to make this letter a part of their approval process. Respectfully submitted, Chief Katsufis. Captain Katsufis.
No promotions.
No promotions here? Oh, well. Is chief higher than captain? All right, let's see. Building department, no comments. Board of Health, no comments. Water department. Letter provided. Dear Planning Board members, the Board of Water Commissioners of the North Chelmsford Water District has reviewed the proposed site plan and special permit application for 50 Drum Hill Road, Chelmsford, Mass., to construct a 3,292 square foot building. The North Chelmsford Water District can supply water with the full understanding that the applicant shall follow the rules and regulations of the North Chelmsford Water District and the Chelmsford Fire Department's requirements and agree to the following conditions. 1, the existing 2-inch domestic water services must be terminated at the existing water main. The new water service will be 1.5-inch, sleeved up through the foundation, and protected with a state of Massachusetts approved backflow preventer. 2, the fire sprinkler service entering the existing building will be a cut, capped, and thrust blocked at the satisfaction of the North Chelmsford Water District. 3, the existing fire hydrants must be protected from the demolition and must meet finish grade and be designed to flow as not to disturb any landscaping or cause any damage. 4, the applicant shall pay a water impact fee based on the size of the domestic water service. 5, all materials are to be purchased through the North Chelmsford Water District per our specifications. 6, the applicant must submit a utility plan clearly showing the existing water mains, fire hydrants, and water services, with details on removing, capping, and termination. Sincerely, Bruce J. Harper, Superintendent. And the legal notice. That's it.
Okay, thank you. Evan, do you have anything?
Yeah, I believe it's the property owner on the Zoom call?
Not that I'm aware of, I don't.
Yes.
Sorry.
Yeah, Marco Borbis here.
Yeah, Mark, I
from
Mark, I
WSS.
thought I recognized you. Do you want to clarify anything that you heard?
So as it pertains to the amount of parking that's there currently, the agreement between the landlord and Chase Bank is a ground lease that has a provision that reserves the right for the landlord to construct a future building at some point in the future. But we're not showing that today because it's just a right that we're reserving down the road in the event that we actually have a tenant or a deal that would make sense to present it to this board, which we do not today. But that's part of the reason why you're seeing the plan as is with the remaining parking the way that it is today.
So that explains the green space next to the Chase Bank.
Okay.
Yes.
So I just wanted that to be clarified, that the board fully understands that that explains one of the special permits, which is 195-17B, maximum on-site parking. So they've explained that. The only item I would, I guess, be interested in knowing more about is the fire department's mulch comment. My understanding is that they don't want mulch near the buildings where people are, flicking cigarettes.
I think it said recommends.
Yeah, so, I do see that rock mulch is proposed on the plan in certain areas, but out on the street, I think that is currently pretty much all mulch, and I think it's proposed to continue to be all mulch.
Yeah.
Maybe in combination with the board trying to increase your quality of streetscape, maybe there can be some ground covers introduced there. Got to consider the salt. I think that's a tough road to grow anything with the snow and the salt. I'm just not sure that the fire department truly wants to see little or no mulch on the perimeters of the sites as opposed to next to the foundations.
Is that the first time, too, we've had that comment?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
maybe we can have a conversation with.
Yeah, I can circle back with fire prevention. Did you guys get any indication on that?
No, other than the comment in the letter when we received it from the planning department. I don't think we have, and certainly up against the building, we have no issue with that. I would be a little hesitant on the road just because you don't want the rocks getting into the roadway.
Want it to
but-
match.
Cracking windshields.
But, obviously interior of the site, I don't have any trouble. And we do have Larry Lesser, our landscape architect. I mean, if you want to, Larry, if you want to comment on that front, what we're proposing along the road, frontage and streetscape, and, what we could do there, that would be helpful.
Sure. I generally agree with what you were just saying. There is so much mulch out around the perimeter right now. It seems to be functioning
Could you
quite
speak up,
well.
please, sir? We can't.
Sure. Sorry about that. Can you hear me better now?
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay, good. So basically, I was just saying that I do agree that there is so much mulch around the perimeter right now. I would hate to see gravel out there and have it really spill everywhere. That said, there are certainly planters close to the building where we could change from bark mulch to rock mulch. As you noted, we already do have rock mulch in some areas, so that would be a fairly simple change.
Okay.
What about compost mulch? There's like a new,
Well, the problem is like a lot of the stuff they call bark mulch now is just recycled wood that they grind up. There's
Yeah.
no real bark in it.
Yeah.
What about,
Wood chips.
what about introducing a grass swale along the street? There's one across the street, and maybe that helps with some LID drainage, if you're draining.
Between our site and the street, I don't know that we have enough room for something that would be effective.
Ground cover? Just look into anything to reduce the amount of bark mulch.
Sure.
Even, have the landscape architect look into it.
K rating on outside lights.
I knew you were going to ask that. I don't know. It is in our photometric
But we
plan,
dictate.
Yeah.
we condition it.
I understand, I just want to,
Condition it.
Yeah, and that's fine.
and do we have a color rendering of what this building's going to actually
think
really
they
look like?
showed
We
it.
did have
Yeah, they showed it
the
up
colored
here.
elevations up earlier.
Colleen, do we have a rendering?
They didn't come through very, very
Oh,
colored.
okay. I thought I saw something up
Yeah.
there, but,
They were kind of grayscale.
yeah.
I'm
It
sorry,
looked
I
nice.
don't have my plans. I think they were given at a prior meeting that I was
Yeah,
on
I've got
Zoom
Oh,
for. So I don't know, it's probably,
Oh, that's
it's
the color?
probably visible on the renderings that we have, but I don't know, like, what, is there, where is the sidewalks, and are there any bike racks, and?
there is a bike rack, and the sidewalks will be around the building on 3 sides. But they're not show. These are colored elevations as opposed to a rendering.
Yeah, the other one right here too, if you, Deidre, I don't know if you saw this one, but the sidewalks are around that. Drive-throughs here. All right, anybody else have anything? Paul?
That's not the same plan I'm looking at.
Erica?
Erica.
Okay, now I'm concerned.
Well, is this the existing or no?
No.
Yeah,
No,
that's
this is
the
the
exist-
landscape plan.
We're drawing.
that's
And that
not.
doesn't match that.
That can't be.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
I don't know.
These
I'm
don't
looking at
match
this.
at all.
Right?
No, that's an older plan. I'm not sure.
I got this right off the site. This is what's online.
Oh, okay, there must be.
Okay, then we
something
have,
wrong with what's online.
All right, so we're gonna need updated
we need updated
plans.
Because
documents.
that what's being shown up there right now.
That's the
for-
typical building right there, is that what we're looking at?
Colleen, do we have the most updated plans online right now for the
Doesn't
50
look
Drum
like
Hill
the size
Road?
of-
So
I'm
if I-
actually
I'm
proposing.
I'm looking at their conceptual plan, and he's saying that this isn't the most up-to-date one.
This is the email I got earlier. Let's see.
This is a similar building, the same building in a different location, to give you an idea of what the site, the building.
What's online is not what was handed out to you 2 weeks ago.
So what are we actually reviewing then? Which one?
Well, what was submitted was what you received
Okay, so
in your
can
hand-delivered
can we
packet.
just
need to
ask for an
synchronize
updated plan so that we're all looking at the same thing?
For the next agenda, we'll have the submitted plans uploaded.
Excellent.
And the only other thing I would ask is like,
Do you know?
It was concept plans.
Yeah, it's probably at our
It's,
end, but it's
uh,
not your end.
It's got a date of 1/6/21. They're labeled concepts.
Okay.
So what was posted to the abutters,
That's what is online that I'm looking at.
which is not the accurate?
No, so we're gonna
plans.
need the updated.
So we need to do we have to do reposting?
No, because they have opportunity to come into the office per the legal ad.
There's no
Yeah.
residential.
No,
Get
I mean, I think we all like the idea, we're just looking for
few more
right plan.
details.
I'd like to know what I'm approving.
That's correct. So, Evan, I think would have to then extend this to another meeting and Karen anyways.
I believe the board asked for some revisiting of landscaping.
What specifically are you looking at for landscape?
Like,
Just a rendering kind of
Just a
showing?
rendering what it's gonna look like, the streets, well,
Yeah,
actually, that building is actually pretty rough. You got views on all sides of it.
Yeah. This is a very visual location,
Yeah.
and you're not really improving it,
Well,
not with this plan.
well, we don't know
That's a
that
We
concern.
don't
because
know that, we don't have.
the
it.
plan I was just looking at, I liked all that green space. Is that accurate or no?
No.
Yes, we will have green space behind the building.
Did you see what I was looking at?
It's kind of a shifted,
See, that's why, I mean, it's hard for us to even, this is what they have up.
Yeah.
And
Tim,
then-
right here, so this is all green space.
Yeah.
yeah, so I mean, this is all green space here.
Yeah.
She's, he's, Nancy
So
has
that's not even the same.
All right, so we
That's
probably
okay,
need to
so-
get them all synced up.
I think we're, we're in the right direction. If we could just get updated plans, and then,
You got the plans. You have them, and you had them hand-delivered.
So those are the definitive set.
Yes,
okay,
yes.
so what's
So if-
online
if-
is not correct.
correct.
Okay,
So if you-
got it.
If you simply, if you're okay with the plans, then close the hearing and take a vote.
I want to see
If
a
you want to see
landscaping plan.
better landscaping along the street.
The other thing too is, this is what the public's seeing. This.
I understand.
Yeah.
What we put online should be accurate, but it's a convenience, it's not a requirement.
Yeah.
No one from the public is here, and I can tell you that no one from the public inquired.
Okay.
But it's also for us to look at, too.
Yeah, yeah. So,
Okay.
Yeah. We gave you hard copies.
Well, I'd say.
I know, but right now, I'm flying blind tonight anyways. I was going to make a comment later that we don't have our computers in front of us.
Yeah, the computers haven't been working for the last couple of
So
meetings.
it's either, what are we doing here? Then we should be back on Zoom, so we can have control of our computers.
all right, so
Right.
why don't we do
Because I
this?
can't-
If you guys could put something together, or we could get the correct thing, we'll be good to go.
A
right, so you're looking
a little
for-
more detail, I think, on the landscaping.
And if you have any better architectural renderings
Okay.
or prototypes, something from a different store.
Okay.
We'll have a decision on the lighting as far as, but the most we're looking for usually is 4,000 K.
Yeah.
The softer the better type of thing.
I've never been asked that question before, so I was
We
not
do-
ready,
we
but I
do-
will be ready next
We have a
time.
lighting, it's amazing how long we debated K
Yes.
ratings
Yeah.
and colors of light. Well, when they first came out, they had this big thing about color.
Blue and the
And a
yellow.
year later, we had to come back and change it again.
You guess he's an electrician?
Yeah. All right.
So,
So,
Okay.
so on that regard, on page sheet C5, the luminaries that are listed, could you please update that sheet to include a column with the K rating on them?
Yes, I believe that is on the photometrics plan, later in the set, on the cut sheets of the lights, but I will make sure we have
Well, I'm
that.
looking at the lighting plan, so that's what I'm asking is.
Okay.
It has a table of all the different lights that you're using, but it doesn't bother to tell me, there is no column in that table.
Okay.
And I would
Those are 12.
appreciate
would
it
help us.
much if you would add one.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Now, technically, I guess we've opened the public hearing,
That's correct.
Yeah.
which means we probably ought to continue the
well,
public hearing.
you can also ask for the public, but that's
Yeah,
just
we
because
we
you.
wanna-
Should do
Well, you
that.
know, that's a good point, and we
We
did
do
that
that.
before. Let's see if there's anybody in the public that's actually listening that wants to throw a question in so we can get them all addressed.
Colleen, anyone?
I don't see anybody turning on their screen or raising a hand.
Well, there's a,
Oh, Alan Roscoe
Bunch of
is.
people out there.
What?
Alan Roscoe.
Alan, go ahead.
Yeah, good evening, folks. Alan Roscoe from Core States Group. It sounds like we're on the right track here, and, you know, I don't know where the confusion lies because I can't see what you're looking at, but the hard copy drawings and the electronic copies that we provided are identical. So we understand you want some more information, so we will certainly provide that. But I just wanted to make sure that we didn't, that there's not a overriding opinion that, you know, the electronic versions don't match what we've provided by hard copy. So
We're not.
we will clear it up. So,
okay, thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else, Colleen? Okay.
Well,
Could I get
ask
clarification?
for, oh, I'm sorry. I just want to ask for a point of clarification about the, I forgot your name in the blue shirt.
Marco.
Marco, you had spoken about another possible tenant and that there might be another building. And is that going to be in the same part of the plot where the main building is? In the green
Yes.
space? I just didn't quite follow that. I'm sorry.
Yep, so it's just as part of the ground lease with Chase Bank, we've reserved a right in the future to construct a second building on that portion of the property. There's nothing definitive. There is not another tenant. We've just reserved that right so that we could do it in the future if the opportunity arose.
That would be a separate set of permits.
Okay, but.
Yes, that's correct.
So we're talking about that we're increasing a bit of the green space, but you're talking about that green space that is being increased would be potentially then taken away by a new building, is that right?
No.
Yeah. Yeah.
If he came in front of us with the.
Well, we would get to consider it.
No, I know, but so.
In a different application.
So Nancy was asking about the possibility of, there's so much parking, the possibility of potentially adding back some green space. And so I guess I'm just gonna bring that up again. Would there be any possibility of adding back some green space? Especially if the green space that's been added is potentially going away?
But the green space that's been added isn't going away, but that was a response to the comment about the amount of parking that's there today.
I see.
We haven't designed something specific at this point, but we would obviously come back to this board once we did, and at some point in the future, which is not anytime soon. But anything that gets added there would take into consideration the sentiment of the board with additional green space.
Okay.
And I'm also sure there are some handicap parking spots here. I just can't pick them out on the plan.
I'm sure there
right away.
are.
There's two in front of the building and then two.
Oh, I'm not with the same plan.
Okay, anybody
Yep,
else,
that's
so
fine, too,
so
here,
we
two,
can
yeah.
move
All right,
along
that's
here?
fine.
Nance?
Yeah. So if I understood that last conversation right, what we're looking at here is a site plan for 2 commercial units that is not including the second unit. So in other words, it has a parking plan for 2 commercial units, but it doesn't include the build-out of the building for that second commercial unit.
I think, what's there is existing parking, and instead of taking that out, Marco and his group have reserved the right to add an additional unit or tenant to that property with Chase. At this point, there's not one identified, and there are no plans to do that, but if there was in the future, they don't want to rip up the parking to potentially put it back. Where that unit would go, who that unit would be,
Right,
we
they'd have
have
to
no
come
idea.
back in front of us. So
Correct.
Okay.
At this time, enjoy the green space until another time down the road.
Potentially.
I would be more comfortable with this plan if it showed the build-out of if it included the build-out of the second unit with
I don't think it can.
with
Correct.
a-
Not knowing who the.
Because we don't know what that might
Right,
be, if there is one.
If there is.
Then you'd
There
end
is
up
one.
with the same thing again. They're gonna get a partial occupancy.
Yeah, I get it.
Stuff never
Yeah,
gets done.
And it never gets done. Yeah,
Okay.
Okay. Okay.
one other clarification.
Yes, ma'am.
To Evan. And that is that this is by right construction, this is not overlay construction.
Correct.
And therefore, each one of the special permits we vote on separately.
Correct.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, well, I guess probably given that we may be realigning the drawings that we look at, it probably would be wise to keep the public hearing open.
I would agree.
So I would move that we continue the public hearing to the next round, and I would certainly hope that we can wrap this up.
Yeah.
August
And I'll
25th.
second.
Yeah.
Second by Henry. All in favor?
Aye.
I think I hope we can wrap this up next time. I would think we could.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
sir.
Thank you. Sorry it was such a long night for you.
Okay, next up, new business, discussion, scheduled work session ongoing.
You have a scheduled work session next Wednesday, the 18th, 6:30.
Before we go on, I want to talk about that. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do next Wednesday. I don't know if there's anybody else.
I'm on vacation.
Yeah.
I could maybe zoom in.
Yeah, I mean, I'd honestly ask the board to possibly, extend our work sessions back out to September at least. I mean, with the summer and everything going on.
All right, the only thing I think that's time sensitive, and I don't think she's got the information yet, is the stormwater stuff that's supposed to be coming to us.
Yeah, so Christina submitted the draft I think it was yesterday. I will forward that out to the board. I've seen it. It's pretty straightforward. We're going to schedule.
Did she ever get us stuff from the state, what they're looking for?
Nothing known, nothing definitive.
All right.
So that public hearing will be scheduled to open on September 8th. I'll give you the 8th and the second meeting in September prior to town meeting. So I'll send that out. If you have a work session on the 18th, you can begin to review it. If not, we'll place it on August 25th as an agenda item. But it's pretty straightforward.
Well, what we could do is move the start of the next regular meeting to 6:30 and give ourselves a little time up front to look at that particular.
Yeah, like I
batch
said,
of
there's
stuff.
the detail that you're looking for isn't there. It's referenced in a document.
That we haven't seen yet.
That no
I would
one's seen.
prefer that.
Okay.
She hasn't
I
even
was
seen
just
it.
complaining
if we
to
don't get it
Nancy,
from
every
the-
week is a lot.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, this is.
I guess that's how the state wants
Welcome to the
operate.
Commonwealth
No,
of
but I mean,
Massachusetts.
Are we
What's it-
going
the
to
time
town
they
meeting
opening
to
up the Supreme
approve
Judicial
something that
Court?
references
God
document
save the
that-
Commonwealth of
It's a good question for
Massachusetts in this
Christina.
honorable
It's
court.
Christina and town council, probably.
Yeah.
All right, so Evan, can we put that on our agenda?
Are
for
you
6:30
canceling the work session?
Yeah, it sounds like it.
Yes.
Okay,
And moving it to a
Six-
short
six-
one at 6:30.
6:30 on the
regular meeting.
25th.
Yeah.
Okay. So the other item that is time sensitive that you're kind of pushing is the review of the master plan.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we're not bringing the master plan to the fall
No,
town meeting, right?
you could do a report.
Yeah.
Not asking
Yeah.
for, which you're more than prepared
The
to do
detail of it doesn't
now
go
anyway.
there anyway.
Yeah, but I mean,
The committee, as you recall, George
Yeah.
Zaharoulis is pressing the planning board to conduct their chapter reviews while his committee is still
intact.
yes.
I'll tell you, it's getting pretty close. He's submitted the summary, essentially the summary chapter,
The implementation.
the implementation chapter.
Yeah.
I reviewed that the other day. You got my comments on that. So,
So maybe
the-
between 6:30 on the 25th and maybe 6:30 on the 8th.
yeah.
Those
maybe we
those master plan chapters that you were going to review next, open space, recreation, natural resources, and
can-
cultural.
Yeah.
Pretty
okay.
straightforward. I don't anticipate there to be a lot of need for discussion or policy discussion. Could take a half hour.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
All right. So between.
And we still
between
have
the
to
next
do
two
with the
meetings-
PILO. We've continued that one. We really, I don't know about you guys, I just did not have a time to dig in further, nor have I had enough time to dig into these 4 sets of minutes. This is really the first time I'm seeing them, so.
So could we postpone the minutes
Yeah.
till the next meeting as well?
Yeah,
You
I
guys
think we
comfortable
have
with
to.
that?
Yeah, because there was a couple.
It was
Can I-
missing minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, can I actually ask, I know that the meeting minutes for the work sessions are nothing, but can we at least have what we talked about on them?
The agenda.
Just like, we talked about A, B, and C.
Here's the subject.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, I mean, there should be
We're
some
required to
content to
have,
the minutes.
are any of these minutes work session minutes?
One of them. The
One of 'em.
526.
Okay. You just want more detail?
Yeah, well, take a look at what you got. You can open it up. Yeah.
Yep.
So I got another question to ask, just real quick. And
Sure,
I'm
go
going to
ahead.
ask Evan this, and I know he mentioned not to bring it up, but I think we got to talk about eventually the 61 Dunstable Road of what happened, because we have to answer to the Vinyl Square Committee up in North Chelmsford.
Sure.
right? So I'm getting a lot of phone calls and different things and a lot about that from concerned residents up in that area that are the mostly abutters. And I know it's in appeal, the decision is, pending appeal. But what happened with the announcement going out? Did it go out, did it not go out? I think the board here, we need to discuss it at some point. But I'm looking at you, do we discuss it publicly, or do we discuss it, the town attorney have to be here?
I'll give the generic update, because, as you know, emails from council have been sent. One email was sent in replying to Mr. Gillette. I forwarded that to the board today. Another email did go from council to the applicant's attorney. I have not forwarded that one today. Neither of those are confidential, so there's public information. Those emails to Mr. Gillette have been further distributed to the Vinyl Square Committee. So, in essence, council has indicated that the email appeal doesn't qualify as a statutory appeal, meaning it's not a complaint to the courts. Mr. Gillette responded. Again, you have that email, that he's not serving as an attorney. He's serving as
just a resident,
as a committee member, as a town meeting rep, in trying to assist coordination, which he's done. So council's put, I guess, the Mr. Gillette and the applicant's attorney on notice, referencing that there may have been a procedural defect in reference to the initial abutter notification of the public hearing. If there is a defect, that changes the timeline for an appeal. Rather than a 20-day typical appeal, it can be extended out to 90 days. So all of that has been codified by council. So any aggrieved party who wishes to pursue an appeal now understands what they need to do in order to do that. So that's the first theme of the emails, was potential for a procedural defect. The second theme was technical issues, technical related to planning board business, drainage, parking, flooding, high water table, fill, retaining walls. So presumably, town engineer, in her typical technical review, adequately covered all of that. That's not to say that when an abutter brings real-world, real-life experience to the table, that it doesn't provide further considerations for the town engineer during her review. So that's the second item. The third item was related to how did the zoning allow this to take place to begin with? So on the first item, it's fairly straightforward. We typically, as part of a legal ad being submitted, we, by procedure, protocol, do the abutter notification. And we have evidence of that. Unfortunately, in this case, that evidence does not exist. More germane, it does not appear it was sent out because none of the abutters have a copy of one. So that very likely is a procedural defect. How that gets resolved and how that gets handled, again, council has sent emails to Mr. Gillette and the applicant's attorney. The second item on the technical issues, as this board knows, most of those deal directly with direct abutters. So as I mentioned in my email to you, I have heard directly from Mr. Duffy. He owns 4 of the 5 directly abutting properties, commercial property in the rear, a single family to the left, a vacant property to the rear right. He has clearly articulated his technical concerns. I've encouraged him to reach directly out to Christina. As you know, Christina's on vacation, so I'm not sure where that has gone. The technical issues can very likely be resolved. And what I mean by that is, Mr. Duffy can continue to meet with Christina and get a better understanding as to what her review included and didn't include. Maybe there are aspects based upon Mr. Duffy's direct input that Christina needs to provide additional consideration on. As part of that process, there's nothing preventing Christina trying to engage with the project engineer and come to a kind of a mutual resolution of those technical issues that provide resolution to Mr. Duffy. Once you get beyond direct abutter issues and you get into neighborhood issues, you're really left with parking and zoning. How did this happen? And maybe architecture. So my emails have suggested that I think the technical issues can be resolved, either with Christina explaining her technical review, and if need be, some minor changes to address Mr. Duffy's technical concerns. If somebody takes an appeal, this will eventually show back up on an agenda. It'll be a new application, and very likely have a similar outcome from a planning board perspective. So, I think it's in everyone's interest, assuming that that what the board approved is not no one's aggrieved of the project, other than process and making sure that their technical issues are addressed. My suggestion has been that we attempt to resolve those.
Yeah, I don't think, I'm not speaking on behalf of the board, but I don't think our decision would have changed. However, I think we've silenced the neighbors. There was a reason there was no one here, because they didn't know about it.
Yeah, I mean.
And no one reads the paper.
Yeah, I can't speculate as to.
No one reads the paper.
The other thing out
no.
that
And it makes,
sent out was wrong,
but
too. It was sent out stating it was at 3.
That was the approval notification.
was
The
wrong.
approval notification.
Right. So it's just, that's the only thing. It makes us look like what's going on here.
Yeah,
and then-
there's no question. So, procedural defects.
Yeah, that's
happen,
fine. We can fix that.
Meaning human error
Yeah,
happens.
fix that. Yeah.
That's why the State Zoning Act is written the way it is. It's no reflection on the planning board. We didn't know. If we had known, we would have stepped in and told the board we can't hold the hearing. So it very likely was a deficiency, one in which we didn't know about until we sent out the notification of decision.
So now is it like, is it the neighborhood that now has to hire an attorney to put an appeal in?
Well, they may not need to do any of that. So that's what I'm saying. It's like, I think the neighborhood
Yeah.
needs to decide, are the concerns,
That big?
are the concerns of a nature that primarily pertain to direct abutter, or are they truly neighborhood concerns? And so I think, as the board knows, based upon your review, setting aside technical issues, which very likely there could be some that are real and need reconsideration. When it comes to neighborhood concerns, again, I'm not sure that the outcome would have changed.
No, but
Right, so-
part of our process is taking.
Oh, of course. So there's a couple ways to resolve this, as I said. We can attempt to resolve it with the interested parties without planning board action. And then that would mean that if those issues get resolved, then there's no appeal. Someone can take an appeal. The other option is it gets refiled with the planning board, proper notification. So there's a variety of ways to handle it.
But is the applicant underway? My understanding, it's underway.
No. So I've heard that there is no building permit issued because
There's not.
because we just finished the appeal period, but now with the defect, that appeal period has been extended. The work that's likely taking place out there, and I have not driven by.
I have not either.
My speculation is that they were digging holes to do Title V test pits. I find it hard to believe that they were digging a hole to pour a foundation, because as I said.
Evan, can I ask you a question? We kind of know some of the neighborhood concerns through Mr. Gillette's letter, right?
Yep.
Could you take the lead in maybe getting that information to see if they could work with them, the abutters to resolve that?
So like I said, what I've done is I've had direct contact with Mr. Duffy. He actually reached out to me. I strongly encourage that he speak directly with Christina so that he understands what level of review she did. She may have covered some of his concerns, and maybe others she didn't. So I think that's imperative. I have not heard from any other direct abutters that had similar concerns to Mr. Duffy. I've read the emails. There are other general non-direct abutter concerns related to parking on the street, related to number of units, related to size, things of that nature. I'm not sure those issues can be fixed. They're not technical issues. So if the neighborhood, beyond direct abutters, feels as though because they were not afforded an opportunity to present their positions to the planning board, that the planning board may have approved a project that they otherwise wouldn't, that would have to either go to appeal, or someone would just resubmit to the planning board, or all the parties would agree, let's just resubmit to the planning board.
Have you sent out the correct notice of approval of that it was only going to be 2 units?
So we did not. So that was also something that ideally would have notified it. It was approved as a duplex. It went out as a 3-unit. I have since emailed and clarified. So that's not viewed as a fatal flaw. Because
I was thinking people might be happier to know that it's not 3.
Yeah, so like I said, in my emails, I've clarified that. I don't disagree that there may still be some confusion on that. So, I'm more than happy to facilitate, but I can only facilitate if the process is that all parties involved are taking the same path of trying to resolve these issues administratively.
They very well may come back in front of us. It is what it is.
Because if something goes to appeal, whether it's a week from now or 80 days from now, during that time frame, I can't be,
No, we understand that.
Yeah.
We understand that.
So it's really,
And we don't discuss it at all either, Ken.
right, so at this point, it's really in the hands of those abutters that are legal standing.
Yep.
They understand from the email the town council sent to Mr. Gillette what their options are. The project attorney is also actively trying to engage with Mr. Gillette and those abutters. So my hope is that they come to some sort of agreement as to how these issues will attempt to be resolved.
Okay. Could we make sure, though, that the right notice is at least sent out so that the people do understand what's going to be there, just so that's clear?
Yeah, of course.
And then,
Of course.
I think, obviously, it's an error.
Yeah, I think in this case, even if the decision of approval accurately reflected a 2-family, I don't think that, that certainly would not have alleviated their primary concerns.
We've also got town council involved in this too, so he should be,
Yeah, my message to the board is there's nothing that the board
Has to
needs
do.
to do
At this
or
time.
really can do at this time. The parties may agree to come back to the board in a formal manner, like for a modification of some sort. Maybe they agree to come back as a new hearing. That's what I'm hopeful can be worked out, and I'm willing to participate in that process. But it's really the applicant and the neighborhood who needs to engage with one another at this point.
So the official letter is everybody 300 feet of the property, right?
Yes, the law requires all abutters within 300 feet to be notified.
Notified,
Yes.
okay.
when it comes to legal standing,
Right, it's just direct.
you're not automatically assumed to have legal standing just because you get an abutter notification.
Okay.
Direct abutters absolutely have legal standing. If you're beyond the direct abutter, you have the burden of proof to prove that you have, that you are impacted in some form or fashion.
Okay, great.
So like
Thanks for the explanation.
So as Mike mentioned, this will be on the next week, so next month's Vinyl Square Committee. Mike is your liaison to that, and we'll update you accordingly. And if I hear anything before the next Vinyl Square Committee meeting, I'll update you accordingly as well.
Okay.
And I think at the next meeting, a lot of emails have been going back and forth. We'll address what the expectations are of the projects that they want to hear about and updates.
Yeah, that's kind of,
So,
that's a Vinyl Square Committee.
we'll deal with that.
Yeah,
So
agreed.
a lot of that has come out in this past couple of
Sure.
week of emails, so
Yep.
we'll make sure that they're informed
Right.
if there's anything up in the north side of town. What's going on?
Yep.
I got one other thing that they can bring up. Like meeting minutes for May 19th, 2021. It said Parley letter, which, we talked about.
May 13th?
May 19th. Can anybody else remember? I thought we talked about other stuff, but we're getting so far out.
Yeah. I mean, they're so far back, I have no idea what to review.
I can't remember yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, I can't give them a decent review that long afterwards. And I don't think it's legal to publish them delay them that long.
So how do we resolve this and maybe help with it? I don't know if there's any way we can, or...
Well, you guys should probably have a dedicated minute taker if you're looking for quicker turnarounds on minutes. Within the department, we're in the process of trying to refine and do some reorg on responsibilities. Maybe that results in quicker turnaround for your minutes.
I mean, I looked at it and I'm reading it and I'm thinking to myself, all right, I remembered going to this thing, they want us to look at it, but I don't think that was the only thing we talked about that night.
Could we get an intern, or...
You're not going to want an intern because that's not going to meet your quality.
Right. This is.
So, like I said, I mean, my preference is to focus on the internal improvements, and hopefully that results in quicker turnaround on minutes. During COVID, staff took on a lot of additional responsibilities. Staff does minutes for other boards and committees, not just planning board. So by default, there's a backup.
Okay. Well, I guess we're gonna keep working on that. Lastly, if we're not gonna have these iPads, could we kind of get notice ahead of time? Because I would love to bring my iPad or computer, because...
Yeah, I know. I mean, there's nothing preventing you from bringing your own personal.
Well, I wouldn't want to if I don't have to. So.
I will look into what the status of those are.
see if we can get them
We were
charged.
always told not to bring our own personal
Yeah.
because you can have...
There are very
legal-
good reasons not to bring your own.
That's correct.
Yeah,
And so,
I'll look into the status. Again, Colleen and I aren't IT. These should be
Right.
plug and play.
and we know you have a lot on your
we're not,
plate, so that's why
yeah.
I'm just wondering if there's something we can do to bring our own, if we know they're
I would
not-
suggest,
I would not
suggest you
recommend you
bring your
bring your
own
own.
and.
I don't either.
Then the
consider
whole
it
thing
backup.
becomes discoverable.
Correct.
You
So
don't
that's-
want that.
But it's
Yeah.
really hard if you can't pull things up, that's all.
Yeah, that's true.
All right, so
In that case, there's one more motion, and I bet I can get to it before Henry does.
please do, sir.
Adjourned.
I move we adjourn.
Second by?
Henry, of course.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.